Assalamualaikum. I'm new to this. I'm just checking. Can you hear me? Just send me a text in the chat, in the live chat. Can people hear me? Okay, we'll just start then. I'm assuming you can. Oh, great. You can hear me. Great. Okay, so today, first of all, welcome. I thought we tried this new platform of getting our empowerment and news around homeopathy and health, etc. You know, we're doing a series of webinars where we use this platform for those who miss it because of the international different people that are joining in the times. Then you can see the uploaded videos after we go live. Now, the beauty of live is you can still interact, you can still ask me questions, you can still type things in the chat line, and then we can take it from today. So today, first of all, assalamu alaikum to everyone. My name is Smina Azam. I am a homeopath for more than 20 years. I've traveled the world. I do loads of other therapies, but the key thing is empowering women, bringing people together, and let's help you help yourself. And give you the power to heal. I always say we always have the power to heal within us, and it's knowing how and what to do. So today, following from last week's webinar, today we're doing the top remedies for digestive issues during Ramadan. If those of you that joined us last week, you remember we were talking about headaches due to dehydration and the loss of fluids and everything linked to during Ramadan, and making the best of our Ramadan with the remedies that we can from what we have at home. Now, I've selected top remedies. Again, what I always say is that's available from your kit. So you have your little self-aid kits, and these are the remedies that you can easily access or easily get hold of, especially when you're opening fasting, thinking, I'm feeling these particular symptoms. What can I do? And the common ailments that we get, food digestion issues during Ramadan, are things like heartburn, bloating, lots of wind, acidity, indigestion, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, or constipation. And these are some of the top ailments that some people do have especially during fasting. So for those of you who are new here, who don't understand homeopathy, let me quick introduction. Homeopathy is very safe, it's non-toxic, there is no side effects. If you went to your kit and you picked up a remedy, if it was the right or wrong remedy, it won't harm you if it wasn't the right remedy. You can't go wrong. But what remedies do is stimulate your body's own natural healing process. All we do is wake it up, and your body starts to do the healing. That's the beauty of homeopathy and why I love homeopathy, because you can't go wrong. So it's very safe for children, especially, it doesn't matter what age the children, they can take remedies, especially we give remedies like colic to babies, to pregnant women. If you're getting heartburn, indigestion, remedies are safe for pregnant women, and also for the elderly. And also, even if people are on like drugs, different drugs for diabetes, for blood pressure and so on, remedies are still safe to take because it works around that. It's working with your natural healing process and does not interact with anything. And that's the key thing to remember. You cannot harm. Alhamdulillah, it's very safe. So on that note, let's move on, because we're always short of time. So I've got the top 10 remedies again. So we have the top 10 remedies easily available from your little homeopathic kits at home or from myself to do with digestion issues. Some of them will cross from last week on the headache remedy, so I will cross-reference some of them. And I've done it in alphabetical order again. So number 1, Arsenicum alb. Now, we covered arsenicum previously under anxiety, stress and anxiety seminar. What I'll do, by the way, let me just stop for a second. With all the webinars that we missed, some people missed previously, from the cold and flus to stress and anxiety, we did headaches and top 10 children remedies. I will upload them here. Now, I was thinking how to do it. Now I will upload it, and then you can follow them again, inshallah. Okay, so arsenicum alb, anxiety around health. It is a fear remedy. We covered this. The fear of any diseases coming on. So they're quite anxious. So every little thing's going to make them a bit worried, like what's going to happen, what if. And the key thing around arsenicum digestion is they're exhausted. They're really tired, yet they are restless. So you've got exhaustion and restless all coming together. It is our number 1 key remedy for food poisoning. food poisoning with diarrhea. It's a great holiday remedy when people go on holiday too. And the kind of food poisoning ailments that we get with arsenicum, it's food poisoning with diarrhea and vomiting. So you get the person, he's vomiting and he's rushing to the toilet, or a bit of both. You get this diarrhea and vomiting. Key thing around food poisoning, around arsenicum. Again, well, I've always said when you're matching remedies up, you're also matching what else is happening in the rest of the body. Now, with arsenicum is this sudden weakness. You become very weak and exhausted. The kind of food poisoning that you get from, which is linked to arsenicum, with foods that are poisoning around meat and something, hence why it's a good holiday remedy, bad water. Watery fruits like melons, juicy fruits, ice creams, and cheese. These are the kind of foods where you can get kind of food poisoning for, which causes an arsenicum picture. It's also an acute gastroenteritis, inflammation of the gastro area. It's also so we're looking at the pains. So with arsenicum, what kind of pains do you get? You get burning pains. Everything's burning. The heartburn is burning. When you're going to the toilet, it's burning. So when I always say about keynotes, and the keynote remedy to remember around arsenicum, the keynotes around arsenicum is that burning, it's the weakness, you've got the diarrhea, and you've got the vomiting all coming together. With arsenicums, and they're thirsty, they have this unquenchable thirst, and they keep wanting to drink. But with arsenicums, you're drinking in sips, sip, 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 but they're still thirsty. Sip, 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 and they're still thirsty. Saying that, they crave ice cold water. But they're craving it, but it also makes the stomach. So you're craving this ice cold water, you're taking these small sips. At the same time, your stomach's not happy with it. So it's distressing your stomach. So you're craving it, and yet you're aggravated by it. And the minute you drink that, you're craving the cold water, he or she has a sip and he's vomited. The stomach didn't like it, so it flew back out again. That should keep them around there. And with arsenicums, they can't stand the sight and smell of foods. Anything's going to put them off. I don't want to smell this. Push it away. You want to open fast, but you're fasting, and now you're opening. Now you've got this vomiting diarrhea. You don't want to smell nothing. So those are your keynotes around arsenicum. And if you remember from before, we had covered arsenicum with the fears or anxiety as well. So you look at the picture when people have got the food poisoning. Are they exhausted and feeling very weak? Are they cold? Are they thirsty or thirstless? So that's how you're matching up remedies and which one shall I give? And like I always said, you can never go wrong. Arsenicum. Next one on the A list is Argentum nitricum. Arginate, known as short. Another anxiety remedy. Where arsenicum, you have this anxiety around health, you have this fear of disease, big fear remedy. With arginate, is your anxiety and it's around panic attacks. You can get quite palpitations. So the digestion issues around arginate that you'll get the flatulence, you get all this bloating. But it's a big bit. You've got the trap wind, but you've got this bloating. It's really hard. You're bursting, your stomach's bursting. You get this colic. You get gassy. And it's painful bloating. It's a good one. Arginate is also very good, like when they're anxious and they're about to go somewhere. And you hear the term when people are going for job interviews, or they are joining, they're going to talk to somebody, they're quite nervous, and then they run into the toilet to diarrhea. You can get that form of diarrhea, hence it affects your intestinals. So the big anxiety, so you're looking at that panicky feeling, painful bloating. And the one key notes around arginate is they crave sugar. They crave salt and sugar, but they're worse for sugar. Do you remember with arsenicum, they're craving the cold drinks and they're worse for cold drinks. With arginate, you're craving sugar. And the minute you have sugar, you've got worse. So that craving and aggravation. It's a very big, also hypoglycemic effect. We're fasting, we're going down, we're feeling a bit weak. There's a couple there. I'm going to pull out the hypoglycemic ones as well. Hence why with diabetes, when people are not eating on time, they get the hypoglycemic ailments. This is one of those remedies you're looking at. And with the sugar aggravation, what is happening? They get in diarrhea. So do you remember I said when you go to a job interview or you're nervous, you're going to be speaking to someone, you're going on stage, you get this diarrhea. So your diarrhea is from sugar, your diarrhea is from anticipation. So when you're nervous, you're getting the diarrhea. And from emotions. Sometimes when people are feeling anxious and they're getting panic attack, they're also running to the toilet, not necessarily for forthcoming event, but you're just feeling panicky for whatever the reason of the panicky is. The diarrhea is connected to arginate remedy. But they're worse for eating or drinking. So with some remedies, you'll find they're better for eating and drinking. With Argentum, they're worse for eating and drinking, and they're burping, they're belching all the time. So they're burping, they've got painful wind, they're panicky, they're craving the sugar, they got diarrhea, and they're having this weakness feeling, not as weak as arsenicum, but still feeling weak. And the key one around that is that craving of sugar, comparison to craving of cold water. Panic attacks, anxiety is a remedy for arginine. Okay, and do you remember, one of those, remember that were here last week, we did arginine also covered those headaches that had the vomiting, and they're worse from different mental levels. So argenticums are also working away, and then especially like now in Ramadan, people are up all night, whether they're working or they're playing games, whichever way around, they're using mental labor, which also can be a weakness and a trigger towards them getting a stomach upset. And I always say to, when we're looking at remedies, I always stop to explain, is always look at the why. The why is very important. If someone's got a particular digestive issue, if it's an acute, look at what happened. Okay, they were very worried last night, or this was happening, or that was happening. Plus, he had a bit of food poisoning. So his symptoms are linked to what was happening up here, coming down to what's now happening in the gut. So our mind-body connection is very, very important. Just to give you that kind of empowerment to understand how God has created our bodies and how it's linked to our digestive issues as per se. Okay, bryonia. Bryonia is a very dry remedy. We covered it last week on the bryonia headaches, which are due to dehydration. But the bryonia mental emotion, I'm adding one or two mental emotions here so you can match what's happening up here to what's happening in the gastric area. Bryonias are very irritable. They're hard to please. They just don't want to talk. You just, whatever you say ain't going to help. They just leave me alone. But similar to arsenicum, our bryonia has that hot burning pain, that burning sharp pain. With bryonia, they're worse for pressure. They're worse for any kind of movement, worse for any kind of motion. Even the wind that moves into their stomach is making them worse. So every motion, every movement is making the ailments worse. There's your bryonia. And they're worse for any kind of pressure, whether it's the headache, whether it's the stomach, and they're very sensitive to touch. Don't touch me. It's hurting. It's bloated. And they have this feeling as if there's in the stomach, it's like there's pressure in the stomach after eating. And you'll hear something, I feel like I've got a stone in my stomach. It's just sitting on the bottom of my stomach. It's this pressure around this whole area. And this is what you're looking in the bryonia pictures. Also, nausea and vomiting, but from slight motion. They're okay being still. The modality, the better and worse. With bryonia, the minute they move, they started again. The nauseas come back. The vomitings come back. But the key note around bryonia is that dryness, the excessive dryness. Everything's dry. You've got those dry, cracked, parched lips because of dehydration. You've got even their stools are dry. The stools are very large, they're dry, they're very hard to remove. And so people are feeling this dryness inside, and they're feeling that even the headaches are dry because they haven't been drinking enough water. The mouth is dry, the tongue is dry, and they're very thirsty. But they're thirsty for excessive thirst because the body's now really dry. Because of the lips, you can tell that they're dry. So they're actually very thirsty, and they're drinking large quantities of cold water. So where you got the arsenicum sipping the cold water, you've got the bryonia drinking large amounts of cold water. So what we're going to next, so you're looking at that keynote is bryonia. Remember the keynote, dryness is bryonia. And the worst, the two things with bryonia, I'm thinking, look at the dryness and that worse for movement. Even when the wind is moving in your stomach, it's so painful. Worse for movement. Any kind of physical movement, wind movement, head movement, the eye movement, stooping down to pick something, everything makes your symptoms worse. That's your bryonia digestive areas around all those digestive issues. Carbo-veg. Carbo-veg is charcoal. The ailments, again, one of the mental ones around carbo-veg is where they're very weak. The ailments from disorder, everything's affecting them around the indigestion. They have nausea, they have flatulent wind, they feel full. The key thing around carbo-veg is they're very weak. They're feeling very tired, even more tired than arsenicum. And they're cold. The body's very cold. icy cold to the sense where they can't move. It's like, oh my God, I just can't move. What's happening to me? And there's that extreme weakness. And one of the key ones is the cold body heat, cold vital energy. And everything seems slow. Everything they eat seems slow in digestion. Even the simplest food given to them, they feel as if it's not digesting. They don't feel, I don't have the energy, I don't have the vitality to just digest anything or to move. I just totally, it's like they're just lifeless. They're just feeling really down. Big one with carbohydrates is the heartburn. It's a heartburn remedy. You've got the heaviness and fullness. But also, when I said the low vitality, you've got that feeling sleepy, that feeling that weakness. It's also one of the most bloated remedies is extreme flatulence. Because nothing's digesting, everything's digesting slowly. They're extremely bloated. Everything's out there. It's really full. But with that bloatedness, with that flatulence, you're also getting colic, that colicky pain. You don't touch my stomach. You can't wear anything tight around your abdomen. Everything is hurting. Everything is low. You're feeling very low. Your energy is low. Your digestion is low. Nothing seems to be helping. And even your belchings, even your burping is quite sour, rancid. It's putrid type of burpees because nothing's digesting properly. So even that is coming out. But you're better burping. You're burping from there. You're also the worst from the rich foods and shellfish and prawns and meat. These are the kind of things that will affect the carbohydrate element to come on board. Rich foods, shellfish, and meat. But also, if your system, you're looking at why carbohydrate, you're also looking at if your body hasn't really recovered from a previous illness. It's quite called exhaustive disease, as we call it. Never fully recovered from effects of a previous illness. So you could slightly still be a bit unwell because of a couple of weeks ago you had a cold or flu, and it was quite exhausting, or you had any other kind of ailment that came on board. And now you're fasting. Now you've ate something, a rich food. You was feeling low anyway. You're feeling weak anyway, and now bang smack, you've got the digestive issues coming, and it just really pushed you down, brought your vitality, energy quite down. You're looking at carbohydrates to actually help you pick your energy back up in the body, pick your vitality back up, so the body can start healing. Do you remember when I said at the beginning, the power to heal within us? All we do is wake that up. The body needs to start to assess, starts to move forward, and start healing. Carbohydrates, great remedy. These remedies cover a lot of areas. I'm tempted to say, okay, it really covers heart issues, it really covers these issues, but I'm going to stick into digestives today. But I'm going to keep coming back to these and match them all up for you, obviously, because it's just, I love what we do. It's amazing. Because do you remember last week when we were with carbohydrates, they had the headache, but the cold limbs. Do you remember I just said low vitality? The coldness, the headache also is your head is hot, but your limbs, your arms and legs are cold. You're worse for overeating. The headaches were at the back of the head. So here, you're worse for eating because nothing's digesting. So you've got those headaches, you've got the digestive disorders. Next on the list, China. China, again, we covered last week on headaches. And the key one with China is that loss of fluids, loss of bodily fluids, dehydration, even worse than brownia. The loss of fluids could be through nosebleed, could be menstrual bleed, it could be anywhere where your body has lost fluids. You become very weak because of it. So the dehydration is even greater. Especially, it's another great one I give to people when they go on holiday. We say take China regularly for while you're away because it's helping that whole gut issue. Because the weakness, because you get a lot of diarrhea. Even when you get a lot of diarrhea, for whichever reason you've got diarrhea, it's causing that kind of dehydration. So when children or even adults have had quite a lot of diarrhea and they're feeling quite weak and they're just recovering, and they say which remedies, they give China alongside whichever the other recommended medication they're on, just to keep the body up due to the loss of fluids and dehydration, which causes a lot of weaknesses. Just a side note from digestive with Ramadan, China is one of those good remedies. You know, when you go for an operation and you have those gas pains after operation, and even when you're trying to pass when it doesn't help and it's really a lot of pain. It's a great one to remember for anyone that comes out of surgery. Coming back to food poisoning. Now, China's food poisoning, again, very similar to the others, it's especially when you have had meat, fish, and fruits, and it's caused some upset stomach. but you've also had loss of fluid. Can you see where they may seem similar? People say, oh, they look very similar. How do you know? You're looking at the why. What's happened just before that? Or, before they got sick. You always go back, step outside the box and go back and look at what else was happening. And what is with China, they're actually averse to hot food. They don't want any hot food. They don't want any fats. They don't want any rich foods. They don't want any fruits. They don't want any meat. They just don't want. They're really averse to me. Don't give it to me. I don't want to eat it. Everything doesn't taste right. Anything they put in the mouth tastes bitter. Even water tastes bitter. So they've got this dehydration. They're already losing fluid. They're feeling quite weak. They've got the diarrhea, and now they don't even want to eat either. Some people that, come on, you have to eat something. You're getting quite weak, but I don't want to eat nothing. And everything tastes bitter. Your mom or your partner's giving you water, and that tastes bitter. So that's a China, that bitterness that's coming through. But saying that, because nothing tastes right, everything tastes bitter, they are craving highly seasoned foods. So that's spicy. I need to taste. I can't taste nothing. I want something really spicy. And they're throwing on the chili sauces and the peppers and stuff like that. Because they can't taste. And why they do that is because they can't taste nothing. So they want these highly seasoned foods. Another little side, I always step past a little bit. It's also very good for gallstone colic. Remember I said about post-op gas operations, but also after gas, post-op gas due to operations, but also if people that have gallstones and you get those gallstone colic pains, there are others, but China is also very good colicky pain, especially that gallstone colic. Just remember that, but that pain that you get around your stomach. Again, you've got the flatulence, the same bloating, indigestion. Similar to carbo weight, it's a slow digestion. It's slow and weak. Everything's just slowing down. When you're belching, with, it's the bitter fluids coming up. Again, that bitter taste in your mouth, the bitter fluids coming up from your mouth. And because everything is slow in digestion, and because you're dehydrated, you've got a loss of fluids from inside, nothing's digesting properly. So when you're vomiting, you're actually vomiting up undigested foods. It's a food you can see, well, oh my God, that's not been digested. So it was there and it came back out again. And the same is with your stools. When you go in toilet, your stools, you'll see in your stools or even the children's stools, there's undigested food. So that's your keynote. Undigested food in the vomiting and undigested food within your stools as well. That's a great remedy. Okay, cocculus. We did cocculus last week as well. The keynote around cocculus, and a lot of us will actually, this quite relevant in Ramadan and fasting, is because the elements of loss of sleep. We're just not getting enough sleep. Now, for those of us who are lucky to just, I'm going to have, especially kids these days because they're on lockdown, they're having a lie down, they're waking up when they want, they're up all night. But for those who have to get up and go work or are working from home, it's a big one where you're getting the ailments because you're not getting enough sleep. It's the key. Or especially when someone's been nursing someone that's been sick and you've been up with a sick baby or crying baby or an adult, and then you're trying not to get enough sleep yourself, and then you're trying to work. You're all these ailments. So that's your why, the loss of sleep. Then you get mentally tired. You're feeling quite sad, profound sadness. You're confused. You can't think properly. And every time you eat and drink, you're getting this mental confusion because your brain's not actually functioning because you're just so tired, the loss of sleep. So the keynote with the cocculus, you've got the mental confusion after drinking, eating. It's also a great motion of travel sickness. There's a couple I'm going to bring up today, but cocculus is a great travel sickness remedy. Nausea and vomiting, especially car, boats, aeroplane, that kind of travel sickness. Because when you're traveling, you're not sleeping much, and including long haul flights, you're not sleeping much, and then it's causing this nausea and vomiting as well as that. But coming back to the digestion, nausea, it's even by looking at food gives you nausea. The thought and smell of food gives you nausea. And when you're vomiting sour bitterness. It's quite sour. You can taste it. It's more soury bitter than just bitter on its own. But again, you're looking at which remedy. You're looking at, they haven't slept properly. They've been up all night. They've been nursing their loved ones. They're feeling quite tired with emotions. And now they've got this kind of nausea and vomiting. You're looking at the cocculus. Can you see how I'm bringing it back to the roots? The root cause is always very important. With any remedies, it's not just saying, okay, here's a remedy and that will deal with everyone. Or here's, arsenicum will deal with all food poisoning, or, this will deal with this. No, you're looking, that's why homeopathy is so unique. It's unique to yourself, to your symptoms. So if you had 3 children and they had nausea and vomiting, but for different reason, he was up on PlayStation all night and she was doing this, and then you're looking, okay, so his nausea and vomiting is matching this because of the why. Hers is matching this because of her why. So this is how you're differentiating between remedies and bringing them together. It empowers you as a mother, as the person in control or helping others, because you're now thinking outside the box. You're now thinking the why and not just quickly going for a quick fix. Here you go, put this down, it will deal with it. And it's quite, when you start to train your brain around that empowerment, it makes you see things different. Even the smallest ailment, you start thinking, I wonder why that happened. And you obviously not to overthink, but in those little things, just to get everyone back on track. Okay, moving on. I have Ipecac. Ipecacuana. It's in the kits. We don't talk about it that much, but it's a great one where you have persistent nausea and vomiting. You're feeling this nauseous all the time, not just when you're eating, but all the time. I think we didn't cover it up. But they're not better by vomiting. You know, some people, when we feel nauseous and when we vomit, we feel, oh, thank God I vomited, I feel a bit better now. But with Ipecac, you do not feel better. You're just feeling nausea, you're vomiting. The minute you vomited, you come back, you're still feeling nauseous and you want to go back and vomit again. So the keynote there is not better by vomiting. They get cramps with their nausea, or the stomach cramps, they're getting pain. Apart from the food poisoning side of Ipecac, where again, the links to the Ipecac type of food poisoning, you're looking at again the rich foods, the pastries, the fruits, and ice cream linked to food poisoning. They get in these cramps. It's very good for period pains as well, when they get nausea and vomiting and they get in their cramps as well. So those cramps can be linked to either food poisoning or by menstrual pain. Similar to what we covered last time in the headaches during Ramadan, Ipecac is also a migraine remedy. It's not commonly thought of, but it's also a migraine remedy linked to gastric headaches. And then why you're thinking of Ipecac, because that headache that you've got, that migraine that you've got, is making you feel nauseous all the time, and you're vomiting, and you're not better for vomiting, and you're feeling this constant nausea. You're looking at Ipecac for that headache, actually, and the food poisoning. And the sensation. Ipecacs have this sinking sensation. It's like my whole stomach is sinking. It's going down. You have that sinking feeling. And it's also a great gastroenteritis, where you get inflammation of the gastro area. Another one, key one in Ipecac, is they're worse for drugs. They're worse for any kind of morphine addictions. You know, you have a lot of people that are on different kind of painkillers, different morphine for different reasons, on different drugs. And sometimes because of their side effects or because of whatever's happened, the constant nausea is because of what they've been taking as well. So this will help alongside some of the side effects of some drugs that people are taking. So can you? I know I'll step out and bring other pointers in, but it's always good to know. It's information. Knowledge is powerful. Now with Ipecac, there's no thirst. I'm not thirsty. Do you remember we said arsenicums are quite thirsty? Small sips, brinias are thirsty. Large quantities. Ipecac are not thirsty. They don't want to drink, but they have this constant saliva in their mouth. Just feeling extra, it's always sticky, there's always this saliva coming up, but I'm not feeling thirsty. I have this sinking sensation in my stomach and persistent nausea. There's your keynotes that you're looking at with Ipecac. And sometimes when they're vomiting, they're actually vomiting, because they're vomiting so much, they got nauseous, vomiting so much, it could be blood, it could be bile, it could be food, it could be mucus. They just vomit up everything and anything. And they have this great disgust and loathing of any kind of food. Nothing is going to help them. That nausea is persistent, the vomiting is there. Don't even think about giving them anything or drinking it, because they're not feeling thirsty and they're not going to want to eat anything at all. Looking at Ipecac. I'm trying to stick to time today. You're going to go through. So I'm going to give the floor to open for questions. Number 8. It's another great remedy, actually. A lot of you would have known about this one. Lycopodium. I love that. Lycopodium, adults and children, great remedy, character-wise. Again, if we look at the mind of Lycopodium, one of the keynotes of Lycopodium are the lack of confidence. the adults or children where on the outside they look fine, yeah, I can do this, yeah, and they're a bit dominating to their siblings, but really inside they're lacking a lot of self-confidence, a lot of self-esteem, but they're not allowing it to be shown. So that's the extreme lack of confidence. Because of that, with lycopodium, and then they've got this extreme bloatiness. They're full of gas. They're always inflated. Everything's fermenting in the intestine. It's very intestinal gastric issues. And with their bloating, they've got a lot of noise. You hear that rumbling and that noisy, and the noisy farts and the noisy burps, and they're just running around. There's that tummy ache bloated, and it's like, oh my God, they look how much is out there. You're looking at the lycopodium, but it's also great because they're so bloated. It's quite good colic remedy, even for babies. When babies look like they've got their stomachs a bit bloated and they're feeling colicky and they're crying, lycopodium will also do with that. And it's like we said earlier on gallstone colic, lycopodium is also very good for gallstone colic, especially when the colic is quite violent. It's very painful. And I'm going to be fast. I'm just taking time so you guys can just write a few notes down. I will put them up, inshallah. Now, with lycopodium, there's this great weakness of the digestion with the bloat. So you got the bloating, but you also feel everything's, again, not digesting properly. Everything you eat is just creating wind. Even when you eat so little, like I'm going to just have a small mouthful, they feel full. And every little bit they eat creates fullness and it creates bloating. So it doesn't matter what they eat, they're thinking, oh my God, if I eat a plateful, I'm going to get bloated. If I eat a couple of mouthfuls, I'm still going to feel the same. I'm still going to feel bloated and feel quite colicky. Now, the foods that make them worse, you're looking at all the windy foods, cabbage, beans, onions, and shellfish. They're the ones that will make a lycopodium digestive symptoms worse. The stools are also quite hard. They're difficult. They're small and they're incomplete. Everything is just all trapped inside. You've got the trapped wind. You've got even the stools are not coming out, and it feels as if because you've got that noisy flatulence in your stomach, it feels like everything just sitting there and fermenting, and just making a lot of noise. Similar to what I said earlier, it's also a very good hyperglycemic effect. So where again you've been fasting, you're feeling weak, you open fast, and you're just a small amount, and you're feeling this bloating and pain. And the thing with lycopodiums, I said about the windy foods, but they're also from sugar and sweets, similar to arginine. They're not craving it as much as arginine, but they also getting the symptoms because of it, too much sugar, too many sweets, or too much of the windy foods, and they've got all this bloating. But the key one around that is that noise, and it's immediately after eating. You was fine. The minute you eat, that's it, you've become bloated. And it's a very good one for food allergies, especially these are with people with food allergies, especially around the kind of foods like wheat, bread, or fermented foods. Similar to what we were saying about the windy foods on cabbage, but these are actually food allergies linked around there. And if they find, this is what I've always said, when people have food allergies, it's not just about let me avoid that food and I'm fine, yeah, I'm great. But what you haven't done is gone to the root cause problem. Why is it sensitive? Why have you got this allergy? It's trying to understand the root causations is really important. You cannot have particular foods because they don't suit you or you're allergic to them. But if you can get to the root cause of the problem, so when you do accidentally have something that has wheat in it, or you've had a bit of bread, it shouldn't cause so much a reaction to yourself. It's only causing a reaction because your body has become imbalanced because of over time, because of some kind of stress within the system, and that's what's going to bring that all together. I mean, that I'm talking about an acute level, but on a long-term chronic level, you're having to think of that, especially with these, when people are, a lot of people will go wheat-free, gluten-free, dairy-free, etc. And I always say that's fine, but always look at why did your body go in this state? Apart from the most obvious, you're looking at the stress levels, you're looking at desensitized, you're looking at switching the switches off. So you can go to a wheat-free, diet-free diets by choice, but if you had to eat anything, you're still fine. And that's the key. That's what keep you happier, because you're not depriving yourself of something. I've had people in the past where, she wouldn't touch a biscuit or anything. She'd just smell it and then she would just put it away. And then the body's always feeling deprived. This is why people have weight problems, because you're creating this craving, but I'm not going to touch it. So actually, even that whole thing around, I want it, but I'm not going to touch it because it's going to cause this, it's a stress. It's a stressor on the body. It's a stressor around us. And that's what you want to move away from, stresses on the body. Again, coming back to lycopodium, full of gas, bloated, lack of confidence, small amounts are giving them bloating, stools are incomplete, allergies we mentioned. Yeah, so there's your lycopodium type of picture. Nux vomica in some kids. We covered nux when we did the headaches, gastric headaches last time. They are quite toxic headaches. The nux character, people are angry, they're impatient, they're irritable. You know, they're your workaholics, similar to Brian, actually, they're workaholics, and they've always been on their coffees, on the stimulants, and they're quite irritable people, let's put it that way. They get angry. It's quite a good liver. A lot of these remedies we've just been discussing, China, carbohydrate, lycopodium, now Nuxom, they're very, very good liver remedies that support the liver because of the whole link. You know, you don't disconnect, you bring the whole body together and holistic start looking at it. So with Nuxom, on that emotional side, they're angry people, they're quite irritable, they're impatient. And similar to lycopodium, they get this loud rumbling and gurgling in the stomach. It's this trap wind. And it's especially in the morning. With the nuxes, when they wake up in the morning, they feel this trapped wind within their tummy. But they're craving, where nux is actually looking for sweets. The nux form is craving stimulants, spicy food. They want all that things that will give them that high so they can carry on working, and it's also making them more angry. They're worse for overeating. They're worse for coffee, even though they crave coffee. They're worse for stimulants, even though they crave stimulants. They're worse for drugs. They're worse for tobacco. And so all those smokers out there that are normally smoking, but they're fasting and they're now becoming irritable, and they're craving all sorts, especially those heavy coffee drinkers, heavy smokers, all those stimulants that we're used to, but due to fasting, we're now actually breaking free from them, and it's causing these kind of symptoms, Nuxform type of symptoms within your body. To help ease that, this is when you open your fast and you can take a Nuxform to help ease the system. It's that withdrawal symptoms, or when people are trying to come off cigarettes, it's a great time to help your body balance that craving. So what do you feel? What does a Nuxform feel? He feels this heavy weight and pain in the stomach, which is worse from eating. His stomach's very sensitive to pressure. And it's also one of the kids or adults, they get the hiccups from eating. They're eating and they get hiccups. And we're praying for, sometimes everyone's standing for prayer and then you hear the hiccups coming through. And that's the overeating, especially kids. You know, they're like, oh, this lovely feast on the table. And they've sort of like, oh, I'm going to try this. Yeah, I'll try this. I'll have this. And then and then they're sitting there for prayer and they're hiccuping. And then you give them a Nuxform. Great for hiccups. But with the nausea and vomiting of Nuxform, there's a lot of retching. Not necessarily any much vomiting coming, they're just like barking a lot. There's a lot of that nausea and barking, not necessarily actually vomiting it all out. That's the key one around Nuxform. And again, you're looking at the adults or the children who are used to stimulants, the adults or children who are used to overeating, they're irritable, they're angry, they're moany. It's also a very good travel sickness. Motion. We were talking about cocculus and motion sickness. Nuxform is also that nausea, vomiting, feeling, retching, toxic headaches. Similar to lycopodium, Nuxform and lycopodium together are great liver remedies, and they cross-reference a lot in different areas. Where the stool of a Nuxform is also incomplete and unsatisfactory. You're just not clearing properly. So there's a lot of urging, but small amount of stool. So people, especially, I've had people calling up this, and people with constant, where you got the diarrhea with digestive issues during fasting, there is the opposite where people are also getting constipated due to fasting. And the kind of constipation getting there's a lot of urging, whether it's the children, whether it's the adults, there's a lot of urging and there's only a small amount of stool coming out. And you can feel I haven't cleared properly, it's unsatisfactory clearing. Cross-reference from the head gastric, from the Ramadan and the headaches, Nuxform is also a great headache, migraine remedy. They run around migraines because obviously they haven't had the stimulants, the smoking, the coffee, those coffee headaches that you get when withdrawal symptoms that you get. And the frontal, we discussed the frontal headaches. So there's a kind of the stomach upset and the headaches you're linking to because of the why again. You've got the next one picture. Pulsatilla. Lovely child remedy, adult remedy. We cover, I think in most of our last webinars, we've covered pulsatilla in nearly all of them, if I can remember correctly. Pulsatilla, they're always changing the moods. They're alternating, the alternation of moods. They're crying 1 minute, they're fine the next. That's the thing. They crave an affection. Mommy, I need you. Or hubby needs wife, or vice versa. And they're wanting you to, oh, what's happened? You know, they want that sympathy. They want that craving. They're crying easily. Even the slightest tummy ache is making them cry. But they do have painful, bloated stomachs. Similar to the nuts and the lycopodium, they also have the loud rumbling, more the rumbling than the gurgling. With the pulsatilla, the worst ice cream, the worst any kind of ices, lollies, ice cream, the worst fruits, pastries, and the greasy things. You know, when we're having the fried foods and the greasy foods and the worst for those kind of greasy things. But they also thirst less. They just don't want to drink. Even if they've been fasting all day, you say, look, you've got to drink something. Oh, okay, life is it, but just don't feel thirsty. They're sometimes because they've become a bit imbalanced. They're really hungry, but they don't know what they want. They just can't make their mind up. They can't make their moods up. They're hungry, but they don't know what for. But similar to some of the other remedies, they have this bitter taste in their mouth. It's like I can't taste anything. And they just want something bland. They still can't taste nothing. They have this bitter taste, and the stomach feels heavy. So it's bloated and it feels heavy. So it's heavy sensation that we're looking at that people get. One of the key aggravations with the fruits of pulsatilla, they vomit as soon as they have some kind of fruit because they're belching, because they're unbalanced there. And what happens when they vomit, they've had something to eat, especially the fruit, and they've vomited, the taste in the mouth stays a long time. They just can't seem to wash the taste out. And then they're saying, oh, and then at the same time, they're crying, or they're feeling very pitiful. They're feeling sorry for themselves. And because of the alternation, everything alternates from one side, the changeable moods. The funny thing also is their stools will alternate. So 1 minute they will have diarrhea, then they've got constipation. Then they've got diarrhea, then they've got constipation. So it's not just their moods that are changing, their symptoms will alternate as well. That's one of the keynotes of pulsatilla, is that alternation that we get. Also, when we said they're aggravated by rich foods, apart from the start, they get diarrhea from rich foods. Another thing they will get is urtica, when you have that itching and the hives type of symptoms. So if you've had a rich food and you've got the stomach upset with it, and you've got diarrhea, and you've got itching with that because of the indigestion issues, then you're looking at pulsatilla, because you've got the itching, the diarrhea, and you're looking at what did they have. They had the rich foods, or they had this, and then you're looking at their moods and think, okay, if she's crying and she's this, she's going to give her a dose of pulsatilla, adult or children. Great hormonal remedies. We will cover a webinar on hormones, and that's one of our top hormonal remedies there as well. But can you see how we just mentioned on each one the moods? Where, for example, the pulsatilla eating, the pulsatilla headaches during Ramadan is also, we covered last time, was the overload of stomach as well. And again, if they had the rich fatty food, they've had some pastries, and they're getting a headache from there, and they're getting gastric issue, and they're a bit weepy and a bit, no, I don't know what to do. You're looking at the pulsatilla headaches. The key thing around pulsatilla is also that they want to go outside. They're better for fresh air. We mentioned this on the headaches. We mentioned this on the top children. It's one of the top children remedies. So it's looking at what are the better. They're better for fresh air. They want to go out. Well, as soon as the minute come in, the symptoms are coming back, and they're getting this headache again. The key emotion around that can be nuts on angry and irritable. Pulsatilla, oh, mommy, oh, I need something. I don't feel well. I've got tummy ache. And then there's that weepy, really crying. And with pulsatilla children, they're just whining and whingy and moaning, and every little thing is aggravating them. So we see quite a few children like that these days, and women and adults and men. There's your pulsatilla picture. So there was your top 10. Let me just go through the top 10 which I've just given you today. So we covered arsenicum, number 2. We covered argentum nitricum, argenic for short. We covered bryonia, carbo-veg. Number 5, China, cocculus, ipecac, lycopodium, nux vomica, last but not least, pulsatilla. Now, this was your top 10, which I know is readily available in most homeopathic kits that we have. They're readily available over the counter, and they're well-known polycus remedies that we can start. It's empowering you guys to start from home, start to some of that self-prescribing. With saying that, obviously, if there's any other medical issues, you must see your GP, you go and see a professional. And these are the one that's gentle acute that you'll be able to do with it. If you're not sure, don't think, please call and get help. I hope that helps today on all the digestion issues, especially during the reason we brought up today is especially during Ramadan. I'm going to open the floor to any questions. If you have any questions, what you do is you type them into your screen here at the bottom on the right-hand side. Anybody have any questions? Please fire away. And then to wait for anyone to type any questions up. Everybody's still there. It's the first time for this, so I'm learning as I go along, so I hope everything's good. Everyone understand everything? Has anyone wanted anything repeated or a remedy name repeated? Are you still there? Okay. What can we take after eating junk food, then sleeping and wake up from sleep due to pain in the stomach? No need to go to it necessary. So the big one around junk food is, again, it's nuts from. It's a big one around eating, because junk food is a stimulant. Eating different things. I always go for nuts from. You can get in touch with me. Let me give you my number. Right, 07912 785 723. WhatsApp that if you're international. UK based, yeah, that's the number. You can email me. I'm going to put my email address up there, which is my email. I put my personal email for now. Especially with kids these days, I've noticed a lot of kids, or I've been hearing about a lot of kids actually ordering foods and fast foods and hanging around, and then waking up in the morning saying, "Oh, I've got tummy ache," and mothers are ringing up. What should I do from the kit? The two remedy, when you're saying the junk food, just come back to that for a second. You're looking at what's the symptoms they're causing. If it's just tummy ache, if it's a windy tummy ache, if it's a lycopodium, the two ones around junk food are lycopodium and nux vomica. And you're looking at what is the kind of tummy ache again, and also what their moods are. It's very important. I had pains in my stomach that will only go away to morphine. Okay, so a couple of questions here. Pains in stomach that will only go with morphine, right? That is not an acute, obviously not an acute during Ramadan. That can be looked at. We have to look at, that's the physical. When you're looking at the pain in the stomach and nothing will go away, but the painkiller is only numbing the pain. It's not dealing with the situation. It's not dealing with why the pain is there. The morphine is numbing. It's not finding the solution. The idea is to get the root cause of the problem. Find out why is your body. The body doesn't do pain for no reason. The way God has created us, the body speaks. It speaks and tells you, hey, I need help. Can you help me? And it creates a symptom, a pain. And that's what you need to look at. Why, when did it start? And what stress you was going through in order to cause this? And that's the key. And yes, it can be helped. And that's why I love homeopathy, because you're looking, for me, it's very important, trying to find that. It's like detective work, trying to find that root cause, what and why, and how can we pluck that out, and how can we get the body to start healing again. Mood around stomach ache, junk foods. I've never eaten junk again. I think that answered that question. You're never going to eat again, so you're not going to go back to that to get the stomach ache again. What can we give a toddler who is with withholding, keeping the stools out of a new developed from constant fear of constipation? It's been almost 2 months now. Okay, A toddler, now there's a fear. Now, can you see that? That's a fear of holding her stools in. A toddler is holding her stools in and getting constipation because the fear of going. Can you see that mind-body connection? The fear, and she's not letting go. This is quite common, actually, with the child, especially when you're potty training them, and they've had one bout of constipation or pain or bleed, and now the body's linked. If you do that, you're going to get in pain again. So it now doesn't want to do that. It's going in and switching that switch off is really important. We can give acutes. Nutsworm is a great constipation for children. Cat carb is a great constipation for children. Brownie is a great constipation for children. But you're looking at the wives. The fear around that. Then you're looking at the constipation remedies, which are linked around fear, and the fear which helps them, stops them going and holds it back. I hope that answers you. Again, you can contact me. You can call me. WhatsApp me or make an appointment. If it's been going on for more than just a few days, that's no longer an acute, it becomes a chronic. Then you need to see a professional homeopath, myself or anyone actually, wherever you are in the world, but get the help to get to the root cause. Inshallah, it's really important. Thank you. One can take for gastric, the burning pain in the throat, the burping in heart and stomach. Now, especially, remember the keynotes when I'm talking about each of the remedies. So you're looking at the symptoms, so the burning. So all those remedies I've just mentioned to you, which ones had the burning pains? Arsenicum had burning. There's a couple that brownie had burning. So if you're looking at your pains and the symptoms, you're matching up with the keynote. So you're flicking through your notes. Say, okay, burning, yes. Anxious, yes. Okay, diarrhea, maybe not. Yes, vomiting. So that's how you're matching up the remedies. And you try. If you try one, I would say try it like every 2 hours or 3 times a day. If you're fasting, you can put a couple of pills in a small bottle of water and sip it. Sip it as soon as you open your fast, all the way to suhoor, or all the way when you go sleep again. And every time you sip, you're sending a signal. And that's how beautifully, simply it can work. Simplicity is the best. And then you're getting your body back in track, inshallah. Let me try and read this. So that's the burning and burping. You're looking at the burning remedies. So I will definitely look at the heavy burping remedies, arginine, arsenic, and the ones we just discussed. What's good for reducing bloating and wind with not being able to get clear removal of stools? And the other one, can we find the primary emergency care pharmacy? Okay, let me try and answer a couple at the same time. No pains. Oh, alhamdulillah. See, you took homeopathy. Someone just took homeopathy pills from us, for myself, and with more natural treatment, no more pains. That's the beauty of homeopathy. The key is you don't need to rely on homeopathy once you start with homeopathy. I'll get you back on track. Once you're back on track, you're then vibrating. Your body's now back. You're healing yourself. Obviously, I don't want people to rely on remedies. I want them to get better and then they move on. Then they just come for when they need to. My body, what's happened now? What's caused this stress to the body and bring you back on track, inshallah. So the pharmacy, you can get Ainsworth's Pharmacy kits, 42 Essential Kit, Helios Pharmacy, 36 kits. Always go for the higher ones, the 42 remedy or the 36 remedy, because they have more choice of remedies. If there's a particular remedy which is not covered by what we've just said, there are many other remedies. You can give myself a WhatsApp call or text or check online. And then there are other remedies you can order direct from the pharmacies or from myself, but or see a professional homeopath, see myself or a professional homeopath to see what is actually happening. What else someone said? For reducing bloating. Yeah, so the one for reducing bloating and not being able... Do you remember the last few remedies that we covered? The stools are incomplete. They're not getting... What was it? Nutsworm and Lycopodium. Both are incomplete stools. They're not cleared properly. But between Nutsworm and Lycopodium, the Lycopodium is more of a bloating remedy. So if you've got that more trapped wind bloating, you've got that colicky pain, every little thing is making you full and every little thing is making you bloated, and the stools. So for that question, you're looking at most likely Lycopodium. But I would say try a remedy from your kids. If you feel you've done it like for this evening and it hasn't worked, don't worry. Then you try another remedy. You cannot go wrong. You cannot overdose yourself on a remedy. If it didn't work, okay, it didn't work. Then maybe you've missed a picture. Then you try another one. Feel confident and don't put yourself down. If you find a remedy didn't work, I'm not going to do it again. No, you switch to another remedy and you try another remedy. That's the beauty of trying different remedies. You're not going to harm yourself by doing that. Is there anything for bad breath in Ramadan, maybe due to poor diet? Yes. There are a number of remedies for bad breath, actually. First of all, just looking at bad breath on its own. Sometimes people will have bad breath away from Ramadan as well. And that's because of toxicity in the body. Now, we covered toxicity in one of the other webinars. I'll upload it here. So, well, first of all, is it just because of Ramadan you've got the bad breath and you're looking at the toxicity remedies? Or is it because there was the why? There was toxicity already in your system, but due to fasting, it's trying to detox, and then you're getting all the different detox type of symptoms coming through. So it's not from the one from here. One of the key variants of bad breath within your kids will be mercury. It's very good for bad breath, Merxol or Mercury. But then that's the normal one. But then others, we do look, are there any other symptoms? Are you getting headaches as well? Are you getting this? What's your diet like? What's your fluid and water intake like? Looking all that together, then you can come up with which remedy that comes through, inshallah. Okay, I think my time is up. Now, if any more questions, I want, for those of you who know me personally, just send me a little bit of feedback on our groups and stuff like that. Tell me how you went. I will try and do this kind of platform where, like I said, it will be uploaded and people can see it. But the key thing is subscribe. If you guys can subscribe to the channel, and then every time we do some live recording, we will upload it. You will get a notification and you'll be able to go into it. And we can just build our international community like this, talking about health, talking about different areas, talking about how to breathe properly, all the different things that we can just help empower ourselves, teach you to give you the truth. So remember, I keep forgetting to say this, subscribe, let me know your feedback. Any questions, you can also put the questions down on the YouTube comments area. So as much learning as me as for you. Anything else, just let me know. Or any tips you want to ask, throw it at me. Comment, subscribe, key things I've been told. And let's see where we can take this and get as many people together and healing, working together, giving people the power to heal within. As soon as we're out of lockdown, I have a restaurant, a wellness center, Vitality Bay. I'll be bringing in within this YouTube channel, once you subscribe, I'll also bringing in recipes for you, things that you can do from health juices, smoothies, everything like that. Bringing all that healing together on a whole holistic. Nutrition is one area. The whole holisticness, as I always say, the mind and body connection, bringing that all together, teaching you that, empowering you that, and how you can just take control of everything around you and be less stressed, more in control with the same workload. That's the key. The power to heal is within us. I hope you all enjoyed that. Yeah. Someone says order for order. So say text me. Now we'll get around to it. So, lovely people, thank you so much for joining me today. Jazakallah khairan. Let's hope we can continue this. I want to create this international community together, inshallah. Where you missed, some of people have missed that. I think this is our fourth one or fifth one, I can't remember now. I will upload, but we will do one every week on different topics. And we keep connected. And we're a community, we're one family, we're just helping each other. And let me help empower you. The power to heal. See you all soon, inshallah. Jazakallah khairan. Subscribe. See you guys later. Assalamu alaikum. Remember us in your du'as, more powerful than anything. Remember us each other in your du'as. May Allah help us all, inshallah. Thank you so much. All right. I'm not sure.